Well, hello again, and welcome to the lecture for week 6 of orgl5005, Leadership and Organizations. This is week 2 of our exploration in leading the organization. In this lecture, we're going to talk about implementing and sustaining organizational change. Some years ago, my partners and I were working with a government client who was struggling with implementing some long overdue changes and how they were growing their leaders and managers. Briefly, we were making really good progress with getting buy-in on the ideas from staff and managers throughout the country when senior management suddenly learned that the higher level government agency they reported to wanted to implement a completely different model. Well, having spent a lot of time and resources on the work we were doing with them, the client was very concerned that they would be forced to abandon all that work and start all over again. Not good. Well, to help their senior management work with the higher agency, we proposed the rubric I'm going to talk about, which we later branded as the Transition Resilient Enterprise. This is a model for getting and sustaining support for broad organizational initiatives. Here's how it works. Organizational change is precipitated by some mandate. Sometimes the mandates are legal requirements such as minimum wage, taxes, insurance, OSHA, whatever. Sometimes mandates are based on organizational goals such as commitments to new products, new territories, growth, downsizing, revenue, profitability, whatever. And sometimes the mandates stem from the public or other stakeholder interests, such as corporate citizenship, ethics, market changes, so on and so forth. Regardless, mandates are the high-level reality the organization and its people must comply with one way or another. Well, whenever we are attempting to implement an organizational change, it is essential that there be linkage, a clear line between what we are asking the people to do differently and the mandate. Folks may not like what we are asking them to do differently, but if they can see the linkage, they at least understand why the change is needed. This is the first step to gaining buy-in. For our government client, once the leaders and managers understood how the change was needed in order to assure long-term funding and success of their organization, they became more receptive to talking about what those changes actually needed to look like. As adults, we are much more receptive to things that impact us directly. As students, we take courses like the MSOL program to enhance our career paths, right? This is about relevance. What is in this for me? Okay, so the leaders and managers at our government client were really struggling to balance the important technical work they were trained for, and they wanted to do with what was for them an unnecessary burden of obscure, time-consuming, and often confusingly bureaucratic administrative tasks that took far too long and far too much time and were seen as actually derailing their technical careers. Ugh. Clearly, the relevance to these people was lost on them. Once we were finally able to get them talking about the need to change in terms of how to make this work, rather than the avoidance behaviors they had been displaying, progress started to happen, and it happened quickly. And surely that was a good thing. It was particularly good because what started to come out of the conversations were ideas, best practices, and options for handling the administrative tasks far more quickly and effectively. They ended up with utility, methods and practices that were actually useful to them in their administrative role and allowing them at the end to focus more attention on their technical work. Well, so that's the rubric. Mandate, linkage, relevance, utility. 4 things to look about whenever you are considering implementing an organizational change, or when diagnosing a problem in the change process. Well, that's it for this lecture. See the next slide for some final notes. Just a reminder, don't forget those deadlines on Wednesday and Sunday. Work hard, learn a lot. One more week to go.